Hey guys, I'm out here on Leech Lake as usual. Muskie fishing got a little slow for me this morning, so the wind's kind of getting to me, so just tucked out of it here. Gonna try a little flipping, one of my favorite things to do any time of year for bass out here, for largies. If you got an area of reeds or rice, maybe you caught them there before on a frog, or you just know there's bass there, go back through there, flip a jig, flip a Texas rig, and one of the best ways to catch them out here. So see what we can do. Big ones yet. I'm thinking there could be a big one in here yet. I'm gonna keep catching these until they get bigger. Excuse me. Still fun. Tiny bit better. A bit different cast, and wonder how many are in here. Not bad, getting better. Not big at all. Not big, not bad. I think if I had a swim jig rigged up, they'd chase that down and clobber it. Because a couple times just on the fast reel up, they were following it in, so that tells me speed could be a trigger, but not rigged up for that. I'm going to keep flipping this around. They're eating it. Might actually flip a jig, because sometimes you go from a Texas rig to a jig and you get a bigger bite, right? Let's just give that a try. especially if the jig works. There we go. Battery died, of course, but second flip with a jig. Got one, not any bigger, but it grabbed onto it and didn't let go. Which tells me the jig could be the deal. Pitch it around here a little bit more, see if I can get a big one. So if you've got active fish and you've got not a ton of cover, you're probably better off with something like a swim jig. I really love swim jigs out here. Cast it out, reel it in. Right now I've got kind of the fish are really tight to cover. I'm fishing a reed patch here. It's got a bunch of pockets and stuff. But if they're out running around a little more, I would definitely be throwing a swim jig. And I could come through here once with that and fish it pretty cleanly. But then, you know, come back through. Basically the idea of a Texas rig or a jig, extremely weedless, about as weedless as you can get anyway. The idea is flipping, pitching, punching. It's basically about making many more casts, but shorter casts. So you're just peppering edges, hard cover, and I'm a little further away than I normally would be right now just because my trolling motor's howling a little bit because of the wind, and I know there's a few fish here. But a lot of times you can put your boat right in there and make 10-foot casts, flip, pitch, whatever you want to call it. But basically just making many short casts to cover and not maybe slowing your boat down and maybe not making as long a cast and making more casts in key areas. That's the whole idea behind it. I can just keep it in prime cover, prime bass hab. Largemouth on this lake love, and most lakes love really heavy cover. So jig is pretty good. And there's a lot of there's a whole lot of reeds and rice and lily pads and stuff in this lake. Sometimes it almost feels like too much. What feels a little better? Oh, that's definitely a lot better. How's that? So I had that Texas rig going, getting plenty of bites. Switched to the jig to see if I could get a bigger bite. That's a nice one. High quality fish right there. No question right now when they have it. They get in these reeds and run crayfish around and stuff, and can be really awesome. Who knows? Maybe there's a bigger one yet. Anyway, even one little clump of reeds, I'll show you those in a little bit here. One little clump of reeds and I could make a lot of casts to it. They don't always want to go 4, 5, 6 feet to hit it. Sometimes they will. If you think the fish are willing to go 4, 5, 6, 8 feet to chase a jig down, then by all means throw a swim jig or a little faster presentation. But if you think they're kind of tight to cover. They might still be willing to bite if you put something right on their nose. Which means many short casts, right? Many short casts. I make many casts. So many casts. I make more casts than anyone. I could make many casts. The bass love me because I make many casts. Many. I make more casts than anyone. Who makes more casts than me? No one. The bass love me. I'm huge with the bass. Huge. All right, tied back up here. There's an important tip there, I think, that I didn't do, that I normally would. I tie FGs before I go out, but on the water a lot of times it's just way quicker and easier for me to tie back-to-back uni knots or an Alberto knot, which will work great. But I have a little less confidence in it, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and just back my drag off a couple clicks, 1 or 2 clicks, and then I should be fine if I've been catching them and landing them. If I have a little less confidence in my knots, go ahead and back the drag off a click or 2. So if there's one time a year that I would fish a Texas rig out here on Leech Lake over, I'll reverse that. If there's one time a year that I would fish a jig over a Texas rig out here for sure, would be September and October. And if I fish in November for bass, of course then too. Fall time, they don't seem to mess around quite as much when it's time to eat. They're gonna eat it, whether it's a Texas rig or a jig, either one. I don't think a Texas rig is gonna be any better. It's a little bit more efficient as far as I'm concerned. There's a little bit more dinking around for the Texas rig. I know I have to tie, you know, it requires a hook and a sinker and a plastic, and a lot of times I do peg my sinker. So there's more components. It takes longer to retie. It takes more effort and time to retie. Missed it. With a jig, it's just the jig and the plastic. A little simpler setup. As long as they're willing to eat it the right way. That's the first one that I kind of missed because I didn't eat it the right way. But it could be because I got the boat on top of them a little bit more. better bites when the boat was 30 feet away versus 15. Yeehaw! The little guy. I'll take it. Making the same cast over and over and over again to get a bite. Gotta put it right on their nose. But there's a lot of fish here. I apologize for the sound quality of this video. With the wind blowing, it probably sounds like an AM radio station or something.